Yeah, this one?
Yeah, this one will show a lot of
Okay.
different approaches and issues to solve.
So first thing I'm going to do is I tend to work towards the ventral face first because it tends to be the flat face, and with that you bring the flat face. Generally, you want to bring the flatter face into convexity before you work on the more convex face, as a general rule. This piece has a big, thick bulb, and
I remember what Bruce Bradley said in that Clovis video. He said that he's talking about, like Dan saying what we've learned that works best. Well, we have to look at the repertoire and figure out what prehistoric people were doing, and apparently, according to Bruce, he made Clovis artifacts differently before he actually looked at the repertoire and saw that they were using different approaches and different strategies. So what Dan is talking about is what we have as modern flint hampers have deduced that seems to work best, and particularly working with Eric Callahan. He is very precise as to exactly how you make a biface. And that's not necessarily based on prehistoric evidence. It's his knowledge of years and years of experience and just being an excellent snapper and knowing.
well, he was basing that on his analysis of the Williamson Clovis site. So it is based on Clovis analysis.
To some extent, but he uses that for every.
Well,
He has that stage.
he's used the stages as a model for a napping continuum. But as he says, it depends on what you look at. Depending on your the site you're looking at, you can see any kind of variability. And he actually talks about that in the early chapters of the book. There's all kinds of variability. This is one system based on one analysis. So that said, yes, there's lots of ways to skin a cat, but there are only certain techniques that work. For removing square edges, you have two ways to do it. You either alternate flake, or you can take, if you are skilled enough, you can take overshots, as Clovis or Salutria nappers did, from one side to another. That said, there's the way I learned to nap, and the way that works is basically to be systematic. However one chooses to be systematic, and so I will then go about making this into a biface.
See how he's holding that against his leg? Again, it's really a thin piece, so it's prone to break by in shock if it's not supported.
So it's basically, you have to get rid of thin edges, no matter what system no matter what tradition you might be in, because they can't be part of the biface because they're too thin. You have to have enough thickness to get your biface shaped.
We're beveling toward the dorsal side to set up a platform area to flake into.
Yeah, I was just, what I was basically doing right now is just getting rid of this real thin edge ones, just that real feathered edge. I was just getting rid of it. And so, and then I will bevel towards the ventral face, like this, to sort of to get a little convexity across the ventral face. And then I'm going to start, but I have to be really careful. I have a really thick place right here that that I'm going to have to hit fairly hard, but it's really thin here. So, you know, these are the flakes that if you're not really careful, you'll get a snap right across the edge. I'm going to try not to make a mistake. So here's my first alternate flake. First in a series of alternate flakes. I'll pass this around. There it goes. And the alternate flakes are very diagnostic. And you'll see the location of the bulb in relationship to that square edge that I'm removing, because these alternate flakes remove square edges. You know, now I've got a little bit of an angle. I'm going to see if I can get some of this from right here. Enough angle to maybe strike his face. Nah, not going to work. The bulb's too big. So I'm just going to go back to here. So I braid every time quite a bit, because the hammerstone will slip off the The nice thing about those alternate flakes is that you can see some of the cortex on them. So you have that big thick edge, and look where the bulb is in relationship to that square edge. So notice that my stroke is always coming down basically this way. I don't hit into the piece. If I want longer flakes, I change the angle of my biface, or my piece, and I keep this pretty much always the same. The stroke's the same. The angle of the piece changes. And I'm supporting it really well against my leg, because I don't want to break it. And then I'm hitting below the center plane. So my edge is below center right here. And hi to all my YouTube friends. And my friends on Facebook.
Right.
So I'm being very careful here. Take a couple of flakes, and I'm always conscious of where that location of the edge is, moving it back and forth from across the center. Now I've got an angle right here where I can take a flake